We are live rather than dead. With the conversation we're having today, who knows?
You never know who's going to pop in.
Yeah, amazingly enough, we all made it. Well, hopefully most of us made it through another week. And yes, it is Monday again. And I want to welcome everyone and thank you for being here, because it's that time again when we raise the vibration and share the positive. Every week on Monday at noon Eastern, I invite you to join me here on YouTube Live as I share this time with you and a vibrational guest. Before we begin, if you are the first one to show up in the news feed, you get to choose which deck today our affirmation comes from, whether it's the I Am Vibrational, which is the orange, or the I Am Sacred, which is the green. So you can type in orange or green, and whomever that is, you get your 5 seconds of fame as I shuffle whichever card comes to mind. While I'm waiting for somebody to see who's going to choose which affirmation deck today, I want to share a quick insight from my weekly reading, which is the art of self-creation. Yep, you are the creator of yourself. So take a moment to pull out your paintbrush on your blank canvas and start creating what you need. So there's some great vibrational insights in there. And if you're already subscribed to my YouTube channel, yeah, it's a little bell below there. You just click on it and it'll arrive every week in your inbox. So let me light the candle. I'm going to light the candle here and get us rolling. And again, whoever is first to turn up, if not, I'm going to ask my lovely guest. Great, I've got cheap matches. They're breaking. Okay. All right. I love these live challenges. There's our candle up there watching over us, ensuring that we are all here in the presence of what we're going to do today. So Amber, happy to be here. Thank you. So which card deck would you like me to pull from? The I Am Vibrational or the I Am Sacred? So you can type in orange or green, and then you get to choose. So I'm hopeful that you can type quickly and choose which deck. Because if not, I'll get Gina, my lovely guest, to be here. Orange, thank you so much, Amber, for playing. I appreciate you being here. So let me shuffle the... Oh, my gosh. Spirit said, okay, we've got to move on. And I love this because we were having a conversation beforehand. It's card number 33, so I like the numbers to start with, 33. I am vibrationally thankful for the blessings I receive. And I think that is so beautiful because of everything in our world. So thank you, Amber. So our conversation today is Knock Knock, Who's There? With Gina Bengtson, aka Parafox. She is the host of Fox 10 radio show, airing every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, with co-host Darlene Mama D. Hill. And I was very blessed to be on your show some time ago, and we made this connection, and I just love it that it's nice to have you back here talking about your stuff. So she's a seasoned paranormal investigator, highly intuitive, and possessing clairaudience, clairsentience, and claircognizance that she uses. And she uses all those skills in her work doing paranormal research. She's also co-owner of Ghostly Excursions, taking people to some of the most haunted locations in the US and USA and events. She is a cast member of Ghost Detectives TV, a local Pennsylvania show that has aired over 100 episodes. She works with her partner, both in life and work, Bob Christopher, and helps him with his company called Vortex Ghost Gear. That sounds interesting. Where he creates paranormal equipment, which is used in the field of paranormal research. And some of his equipment is being featured on shows such as Ghost Nation. Gina uses her skills to design and custom decorate easy scan ghost boxes for Vortex Ghost Gear. Gina is also a tool belt diva. I love that. A tool belt diva, a former interior designer, decorator, and also an artist. And if you're watching this show after we've gone live, how to connect with her is underneath. So Gina, I'm so blessed to have you here. So I want you to share the story here of how you got into this paranormal stuff, because we don't just go wake up one morning and say, I'm going to be a paranormal investigator. There are circumstances that come up before us that create that next connection, as it were.
That is so true. That is so true. Thank you for having me, by the way. And I would love to have you back on our show too, anytime. Now, for me, how things began, I have always been interested in, the shows that were on, the ESP shows, the Gary Collins series, all those different things that were on, I was always interested in. I had a friend of mine who used to always sit there and say, okay, well, she was up the hill and I was down in the valley. That's what I always said. I said, let's communicate, let's try to communicate. And we would always do that. So we were always like kind of honing in our skills, even when we were, 7, 8, 9 years old. But I never thought of it as like the field is so ginormous. The paranormal metaphysical community had no idea really.
Yes.
As growing up, I was more business oriented. Like I've always pretty much been a business owner my entire life. I've only worked for other people a few times in my life. My dad was a carpenter. I used to watch him. He never spoke too much. What he did say is, if someone else can do it, so can you, so he would, teach me in that manner. Like he would step in if I was going to cut my finger off, you know what I mean? So you learn by doing, right? So I was into that. I was into art. I was into, doing that kind of stuff. So this is why, I kind of went to the interior design business, because I could do my art, I could do my carpentry, I could do all the things that I love to do. Now, when you're working in carpentry and you're carrying things out of old houses, things happen, and you see things and you hear things. And I would run into that a lot. But now when you're an interior designer, you don't say those things in the field. It's not really accepted, And then I got to the point where, you know what? The heck with that, because this is what's happening.
No.
So then I decided to go more like full bore. But however, to back it up again, what had happened to me when I was younger was this. Like now I think of, because I was trying to hone those skills. Okay. My grandparents, on my mother's side, we were very, very close. We used to go to their house every Sunday. Right. My grandpa, they're little Italians. Okay. Little, as round as they are tall, right? Italians. Okay. Because we eat good. My grandfather used to teach me how to play pool out in his garage and everything. So we were very close. When he talked, his name was Nick Steamboat Martoni. He stuttered. Right? When he was passing away, he used to say, and we weren't allowed over there because we were very young. We weren't really allowed over there. And I woke up one morning and he was in, he was like bedridden in his house. And I woke up and I told my mom, I'm like, listen, I'm going to tell you something, and this is really kind of creepy, but Grandpa was in my room and he was telling me they're grabbing my feet. And he would say like this, they're grabbing my feet, they're grabbing my feet. And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't even want to tell her because I just thought it was strange. Well, he had passed away that night, right? So he came and he was at the foot of my bed. I could see him. I could hear him talking, okay? And he's telling me, they're grabbing my feet, they're grabbing my feet. And what he was saying before he passed away in the house was, he was telling everybody that came into his room, he was scared. And he said, they're grabbing my feet. They're trying to, like pull his covers off. They kept on trying to grab his feet. So, so here I am, I'm getting that message. Had no clue that was really going on,
Yeah.
So, so that always stuck in my head, and then my grandmother passed away not too long, after that, maybe a year or so after that. And she appeared to me and my cousin Luann, out of all, in the big Italian family, out of all the whole huge family, it was just me and Luann that saw her. Now I could see her mouth moving, but I couldn't hear her.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what she was trying to say. And she was there, what seems like a long time, but probably just moments.
Yes.
And then she was gone. So then I'm like, oh boy, this is like, do I even say this one now? But things like that have happened. Once I started getting, like looking more into it, a little bit here and there, a little, and whatnot. But life goes on. I had gotten married, and my first marriage, my kids were little, and my husband and my first husband, my kid's father, we didn't really get along too well, and we didn't have such a great rapport. It was kind of a volatile relationship. Well, I ended up getting a broken collarbone. And what happened there is I had this little teeny house, and I went to the hospital. They gave me Demerol for the thing, and then Percocet. And I went home, and it was like winter, and I wanted to take a shower. So you can't do anything with the broken collarbone.
Right.
So I have Demerol in me. I have Percocets or Percodans or whatever they were in me. And I went and I took a shower. My water, and this is a little crappy house, right? So the water got cold. I started shivering and shaking, and that hurt. So I took more. So, and then I'm just like, don't touch me. Just don't touch me. I just wrapped the towel around me. I went out to my couch in the living room, and I laid down on the couch, and I was just like, oh my God, I never felt such pain. I mean, just to breathe, you couldn't even move a quarter of an inch without it killing. Well, so all of a sudden I start passing out. Like I pass out, and next thing I know, I'm floating down a hallway, and then I'm looking around, and I'm like, I recognize this hallway, it was the hallway at my mom's house. And so as I'm going down, we had a ranch, and my brother's door was here, the bathroom door was here, then the cellar door, then it was our room, me and my two sisters, and my parents were straight ahead. I'm behind all the doors. I'm at the very beginning, and then I would like kind of go forward in a leap. So I go forward, and I'm still trying to figure out what is going on. And then all of a sudden I go forward again. Right now I recognize, I'm like, oh, that's my brother's door. And I'm like, all right, why am I at my mom's house? And then I go forward a little bit more. Now I'm past those doors. All right. And I can see my mom's door. And now all of a sudden I see things. There are things going by me. And these things were my things that were in my bedroom when I was growing up, when I was in that house. I left that house when I was 17, by the way.
So like the memories. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like my candles are going by. My stereo even went by. But not even kidding. I had a little turntable stereo thing that went by. I was just like, this is insanity. Okay. And I'm like, and there's still, I'm going with it. I'm just kind of, I don't understand, like, and I'm going down the hall, and now all of a sudden I'm trying to grab the things. I can't grab the things. Okay. And then I kind of leap forward again, and I'm closer to the door. I'm still far enough away, but I'm closer to the door, and I can't see the cellar door anymore. I can't see the bathroom. I can't see my brother's, but I can see my door, and I can see my mom's door. And now I can grab the things, and I'm trying to throw them. It's like all of a sudden this little switch flipped. I'm like, oh, my mom's in there, and I have to wake her up. And this is what's going on in my head. So I'm picking up these things, and I'm trying to throw them at the door. As soon as they get to the door, they disappear before the door. I'm like, oh, come on, right? I'm getting irritated, honestly. And this is so vivid that, I mean, I remember it just like this, right? So now I'm grabbing things, and when I jump forward again, and now I'm grabbing the things, and I'm throwing them at the door, and they're making noise. And then I'm trying to talk, and nothing is coming out. So I'm trying to say, help, help, help. And then as I leap the last time forward, and I'm really close, like I could almost reach the door, I'm like, I'm dying. I'm going, oh my God, I am dying. And then I'm panicked, and I'm saying, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And I'm trying to scream it, and I'm trying to say it, and I'm trying to scream it. And again, nothing coming out. And then all of a sudden I screamed it, and I said, I don't want to die. And the next thing I know, I slammed back into the couch. Like I must have been. Oh, wow. I slammed into my couch, and my collarbone, again, the pain was unbelievable. I was soaking wet with sweat, and I was just like, oh my God, I didn't take any more pain pills. I threw those things away. I told the doctor, I'm like, don't, what else can I do? If it's something, that was later on. But at that point, I was just like, wow, I was that close. But from that moment on, that's when I can hear them when they come in. I have it starts out and it's most prevalent as tones. And if it's a low tone, a medium tone, or a high tone, right, I'll hear if a spirit comes near me. If it comes too close to me, it's deafening, like it really bad, and I have to tell them to back off, I'm listening, but back off.
Yeah, don't shout in my ear.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my God, I just, ugh. But if it's a high tone or a medium tone, I'm not worried about it. But if it's a low tone, I'll get nervous, and I'll be like, okay, this is not a good thing.
So
And
the low tone is like an icky feeling, is it?
Yes. Yeah. And it could be a very negative spirit,
Yeah.
So the way I see it is like this. You have spirits, you have ghosts. Right? A spirit is someone who's crossed over and come back, and a ghost is someone who just died and refuses to go, or is still holding on to their human emotions for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Right? So they're just here. Right? And those are the ones we try to help. Because obviously the spirits we don't have to help. They're going to help us. And I have good stories about that, right? So, and you know all about that, is they help you all the time. And I mean, I've had physical help from them, which is really neat. Cool stories. But these are the skills that I use when I'm taking people into haunted locations, right? Especially if you have a group of people that, they're not investigators. If they were, they would be coming with us. But they want the experience.
Yeah.
And they want to see what it is that we do, how we do it, why we do it. They want to have an encounter. They want to have that experience. But if I hear that low tone, I will steer them away from that tone, that area.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And go to another location.
So are you a bit like when, somebody says, oh, there's a ghost here, and I don't tell me anything. Are you like that, or do you like to have the information? Because I'm somebody that if I go somewhere and somebody's talking about a residential ghost, as I call it, I don't want to know the details because it clouds the information I get. So which way do you like to work? Okay.
I like to use equipment.
Oh, right.
I like to have the experience, and I want to be able to show it to you after. So the more information I have, the better, because they get if someone comes up to you and has a conversation with you about something that you know everything about, right? But they don't really know anything about it at all, and you can get a little irritated with that such a scenario and leave. Right? Well, a spirit will do the same thing. Like, oh my God, not even in the right time frame. I don't know who you are. Right? Just please get out of my house. And then you'll get what on your EVPs, get out. You get the majority of the EVPs we've ever gotten in our entire lives are get out. Right? That could be for the fact that 1, you are bothering them. 2, you have no clue what you're talking about. Or 3, you're very disrespectful. So if you go in and you have a conversation, like we're having conversation, you have respect. You don't go knocking someone's door down and tell them, hey, you're going to talk to me. You're going to tell me your whole life story. You got to tell me now. Oh, you don't know me? Oh, that's all right. Don't worry about it. Just tell me your story. So you go in and you say, hi, I'm Gina. I'm here to find out information about you, whether it's a residential case or not. All right. If it's a residential case, you'll say, yeah, because the spirit knows everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So, you got to find out about the person first. What is your issue? What are you on? Are you on drugs? Are you drinking? Are you crazy? Are you on psych meds? Are you,
all of the human things that could possibly create differential frequencies there.
Exactly. So you find out what's going on with the person and what is happening in the house, and why is this spirit bothering you? Then you go and you talk to the spirit. You say, all right, well, they said this. Are you doing this? And why would you be doing this? And is it that you don't like them? So basically, you got to come out. You got to be a counselor. A counselor to the people, and see if you can make them work together. Or if you can't, one has to go.
Right. So I was blessed with the opportunity when I was in New Brunswick. I was doing some work there at a particular venue, and the person at the venue does what you do. She works with a paranormal group, and she said, well, we're having some difficulties with a property just not far from here. And I think she could see my eyes getting a little, I'm curious. I've not experienced this before, not in, other than spirit connecting, coming through, giving the information and leaving kind of thing. So she said, would you like to come and do a walkthrough. And for me, because I didn't want to be clouded with, oh yeah, I picked that up too, or oh yeah, I'm getting that too, I said to her, okay, take me there, but tell me nothing.
Most psychics work like that.
Yeah, and it was good for her to get confirmation that I was picking up what she was picking up,
right?
But also there was somebody else had picked up some stuff which she hadn't picked up, which I had picked up. So it helped the correlation, if you like, of things, because we're all working in different frequencies, so we can all pick up different things.
Right.
And you know, it was
you are a tool, right? Like
exactly.
The equipment that we use is a tool. And when you're done the investigation, which is a gathering of all the information, and that's when you come up with what's going on there.
Yes, yeah.
You know, so psychics can be an invaluable tool to have with you.
Yeah. So what's your most funny experience, I suppose, is the one that most people would like to.
All right. This is hilarious. My very first formal investigation that I was going to with this one particular Staten Island team. Okay. I'm new on their team. We're going to Rolling Hills Asylum. All right. Never been there before. So that was the first time I was there. And this was 10, 11, 12 years. I don't even know how many years ago now, 10 years ago, maybe.
In the past.
Well, we were down. There's a little junction in the basement. There's a morgue there. There's a hallway outside, there's a tunnel in front of you that goes down and up to the laundry area. And then it goes around the corner to the boiler area. And then another one that goes in front of the boiler area and then into the morgue. All right. So I'm standing out there. No, actually, we were all in the morgue. We were doing all our cameras and all our recordings. We were trying to do something in the morgue. I heard something in the hallway. So I was closest to that door. So I went out that door to see what it was. The only thing I had in my hand was a millimeter and a flashlight.
Okay. So explain what a millimeter is.
Oh, that it's like EMF detector and
so it picks up sound or energy?
No. Energy. Electromagnetic energy. And they say that, if a spirit is coming at you, that it's made of electromagnetic energy.
Okay.
So this reads it. Okay. And it's usually right around, the highest, it'll 2 point something, you know what I mean? All right. So I'm standing there with the millimeter and the flashlight. So I hear this noise. And then one girl came out with a camera with me. So she's behind me and she's got the camera. Now she heard something else back in the morgue and our friends were saying something. So she turned around, went back in the morgue. In the meantime, I hear little pitter patter of feet running down the tunnel right at me. Right? I hear that really loud. And I'm going, guys. I'm yelling, guys. This thing comes up, all right, and ran right through me. I mean, it hit my gut like a sack of bricks. Boof, and my hair even went poof, and I'm screaming. Right, and I'm watching the millimeter, and the millimeter went from 0 to off the chart. I mean, it goes up to 900 and something is like the highest that the meter will read. It was just and it went way up, and as this thing's coming out. Now the girl is hearing me screaming, and I never scream, never. And nothing scares me, really. You might scare me, you know what I mean? Coming around a corner and say, boo, you know. And I
exactly. That's sort of like,
but not in the paranormal. I don't get scared like this, right? But she hears me screaming, and she comes back out of the morgue with the camera, and I'm going in. Right, so all you're crashing into each other, boom, 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 and I'm like, get out of the way. It was hilarious because that was my my embarrassing hilarious moment. However, I mean, it wasn't real, a real thing, and I felt it was a little girl. Right now, there are stories of a little boy who was a son of the woman who works in the laundry that has been seen, and they talk to him a lot there. But this was a little girl for sure. I know it 100% fact that I know it. But then, you hear people always asking to have these things. Oh, come touch me, come do this, come do that. I'm like, yeah, please.
Yeah. I have certain parameters when I'm working with spirit.
You don't really want that. I mean, it's never happened since, so nothing like that's ever happened again. I mean, I've had them right up to me, because sometimes they'll come right up to you if they think that you're not listening, and then it's like, okay, again. back off because you're making me deaf, and I will talk to you.
It's funny when you were saying about the funny experience. This particular one that I was talking about in New Brunswick was actually in St. John, and they invited me to be part of they were going in there at nighttime, obviously, and I don't know why. I truly didn't realize they were going to turn the lights off. Not that it scared me, but it was like I was sitting on one little wall, and everybody else was sitting on the other wall, and it was so funny because they're like, well, why are you sitting over there? I said, because this is where I need to be. I just know, I've been told. But of course, I didn't expect the lights to go out. And of course, as you know, it takes a while for your eyes to readjust. Right. And they're like, are you okay? I said, well, yeah. I should have realized it. I have seen it on shows, but I just didn't correlate that, as it were. And of course, what was happening, I could see what was going on behind them, and their hats were sort of being pushed off, or something was touching them. And that by the end of that little section, everybody was sitting on the same wall with me. It was because I was laughing because they're like, you should have told us. I said, well, I didn't know, but I just got the sense, sit here. So when you have those sort of funny things that happen, but the lights going out, because they're like, I went, oh, and I feel rather silly. It doesn't bother me at all, and I always work on the basis that if I'm there in my highest good with intention and all the rest of it, that if there is something that's untoward, I'm going to leave. That's it. That's my humanness here. I'm going to leave, kind of thing.
Well, fight or flight. You got to trust your instincts. Your instincts are your direct communication. From your spirit guide, so you always got to trust that. So if someone's telling something in your spidey senses are going on, and you're walking down a hallway and everything is telling you to turn around.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny when you say that, because I say to folks when they say, well, I sent somebody up behind me, and I'm like, did you ask who it was? No. Well, why wouldn't you? Because it's a human thing. If you were standing there in a, and somebody crept up behind you, the first thing you would say is, who are you? Or what do you want? So I think people think there's a different protocol when it comes to spirit or ghost or things like that.
Yeah. And no, they're really not. No, it's respect, respect in your intent. And they know it. They know it. They know if you are truly intended, and you have a good positive demeanor and core value, and you're going in and you want to just go in and communicate and find out what's going on. They know that. Yeah. If you have that, well, I'm going to go in, I'm going to kick the door down, and I'm going to make him hit my partner in the head, choose me, hit me, or I demand you to do this. You could get hurt. And why would you want to do that?
Would you want to be crazy?
This is your grandma's spirit. Right? Would you want someone doing that to your grandmother? Or your mother, or your sister, or your daughter, or your son? Would you want anyone treating them like that?
No, you wouldn't.
No.
So have you? I'm sure you have experienced when somebody has what they call unwarranted activity in a new home or a place that they've bought. Have you experienced? I'm sure you've experienced those. So and I think so. Have there been any what I call malevolent ghosts that say, "This is my home, get out of here," to the people that have now purchased or rented that home? So, have you experienced anything like that, and how do you deal with it?
All right. Yes, and for the most part, but the most part, people go by what they see on TV. All right. What they see on TV is entertainment. All right. Please get that through your head. It's entertainment. It's not really what really happens in the world out here, in our investigations. It's not, everything is not bad. Everything is not demonic. That is the minority, not the majority of things that are going on. There are spirits that will make themselves seem horrible and seem demonic, but they're not. They've just had a rough life, and they're negative. They're just negative. Yes.
Right. Just as we have people in life that are like that. It's like, I don't want to be around them.
like say my house. Okay. I have 3 resident spirits in my house. All right. The old man who's up on the 3rd floor, I try to respect him. I give him his books. That's what he wants. I have a woman in period clothing that just doesn't say anything, can't get any information out of her, don't really know her story. She's on the second floor. And the woman that owned the house last is on the first floor in her favorite room, which is my sunroom. And she got mad at me because I took her flowers out. But I'm fixing the house. So she used to look out the thing, and now there's all these shadow figures going back and forth when I took the flowers out so I could work on the door. But you have to explain. I have to take those flowers out because I can't stand in the middle of the flowers. You have flowers in front of a door. All right, this is the door. There should be a patio, not flowers.
Yeah, you can put flowers on the patio, lay it further out,
The flowers. I didn't get rid of them all. I moved them. So I have to, reiterate what you're doing. But this is the same thing when you go into someone else's house, and the spirit has been there longer than you. Right? So again, respect. Right. And if you're changing their stuff, you're going from a beautiful Victorian mansion, and they're trying to make it a modern. Think of Beetlejuice, all right? When they totally renovated that house into that craziness, okay? And when they walked in and they said, "Oh my God, we're somewhere else," right? Well, that's what they're feeling, So you're taking their style, their sense, their life, things that they're used to away, right? So if these are spirits that are just reliving their life, they're doing their daily thing, and everything is changing, of course they're going to lash out at you. So again, this is where like the counseling part comes in. When you tell the people, all right, well, this is what's going on with the spirit, and you tell the spirit, well, this is what's going on with the people. They actually own the house now, so we need to come up with a compromise. So either you can stay here if you're not going to interfere. If not, you do have to leave. And if they don't leave willingly, then we can force them out. Whether you do cleansings, whether you do, you can cleanse the property in so many different ways, right? Because and divination goes way back for millennia, right? So there are so many ways to cleanse a house and seal a house, and then seal the property, so you got to seal all the four corners of your property so that they can't come out. So, but you always need to send them away with the best and the most positive of intentions: love, light, get out. Right.
Yeah.
but so that they don't come back. So every case is different. Every spirit's different. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know what you're dealing with as to get them to leave. The one there's one that I got rid of that I thought was going to be horrendous to get rid of. And she left just as I was explaining what was going to happen, because it was such a high frequency, like we were talking about frequencies before, like how it gets in your head and like a static on a radio. This is a friend of mine's house, Chris, and I couldn't stay in that house. It was always like, it drives me nuts, And then he explained to me that this woman, she passed away there, and she was like a rowdy. He did sound production and whatnot, doing things for a band, and then actually a very haunted location, the dark. I say it in my accent, the Dark Horse. The Dark Horse restaurant and the Cannery was a place where bands played, and he did the sound. Okay, but she was always there. She loved the music, and she was very crazy, and she was very, she wouldn't sit down for more than 2 seconds. So she was really just one of those very, anxious people. Well, when she passed away, she was very nervous about lots of things, but she was still anxiety filled. And I went into her room that she stayed in at that house, and I was just saying, listen, I found out about you, and I knew her family details and everything, and I figured out what it was that was keeping her here. So I explained that situation, I'm not going to go into those details, but that situation was taken care of, and her belongings were taken care of, went to the proper people and everything. But, I'm still saying, listen, I'm going to have some people of mine, that I know help come over and help me to explain to you and to help you with the process of moving on. Just because I told her that her things, were okay.
Yeah.
She decided to go. And it was just like someone took that squelchy stereo that was turned all the way up going, ee! It went, whoom, and you could feel the air just went, whoom. And Chris, who was down the hall, this was a long hall too, down the hall and around the corner, sitting in the kitchen, was like,
he could feel it.
Yeah. He said, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
I said, she's gone. He goes, oh my God, I've been living with this. Because he lives there. He didn't realize. that was just his normal thing. But me going in there, it was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is crazy.
It,
So you never know.
yeah, it's funny when we bought our first home in British Columbia, the process of us buying it, the woman had died that owned the house. And so knowing that she had passed, I walked around the house and thanked her for letting us take the house, and that we were going to make some changes to it because it was quite dilapidated and needed TLC, I think the wording is, and that if there's anything that she didn't like or that she didn't, would she please speak to me about it, because it's not that it won't happen, but I would like to know, because I thought I don't want any, because everybody's going, she's just died and she'd lived in this house for over 25 years. And, I said, well, she actually did come and visit me in the yard when I was doing some clearing in the yard, because it was completely overgrown. In fact, we didn't realize how much more yard we had until we started to clear off all this overgrownness.
Right.
And she said, yes, I'd been meaning to do that for many years, but I just didn't have the energy. And as I got sick, I couldn't do it. And I said, well, now we can do it. You can help me with this. And so we had this beginning of this conversation, and then she just left at some point, I can't even remember when, but it was that sort of, everybody's like, she's still here.
Okay. Everything's okay here. I can go.
Yeah. And it's wonderful. And some people like, I in my touring with my work, I've been very blessed to be in some very old houses and very old buildings, and people reside there with their resident ghost, and it's all good. And especially when it's in metaphysical type environment, that people rather like that. So it's like, I've thankfully I've not encountered any malevolent ghosts or anything like that. So
I had a thing happen to me once. I went that Staten Island team, one of the people in that team, we went out to Trans-Allegheny. We went over to Hillview Manor. Like, this is, I had to drive from Massachusetts to Staten Island, which is like a 5-6 hour drive. Then from there, we drove 11 hours out to Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Wow.
And then we investigated all night, all morning. And then we got 2 hours sleep. And then we went to Hillview Manor and we investigated there all day, all night. And then then I had to drive from there and bring him back to Staten Island. On the way back,
oh my gosh,
I went to another location.
I was awake.
When you get beyond that point of tired,
yes,
I was in that state. I was not doing well. I went and I did this other mansion, and down the street there's the cemetery that's related to that, and the Hoosac Tunnel. And I went to the Hoosac Tunnel, and I did number one, the thing I tell people never, ever, ever do, which is take anything. Don't take anything ever from any kind of location. I don't care if it's a pebble or anything, paperclip. Right? Don't take anything from a haunted location. You don't know what's attached to it. Right? I took a brick and a spike from the Hoosac Tunnel, and I took it home. And now, I don't know if it was exactly those items that this thing was attached to, or just all because I was so exhausted and I was not grounded, shielded properly, so it could have been from the cemetery. It could have been from the tunnel. It could have been from the mansion. It could have been, anywhere. When you're that open and vulnerable, it's easy to have these things attached to you and come home with you and whatnot, right? So this thing comes home with me. And it is very destructive. And it blew up my television. I had it repaired, blew up my television again. One of my computers was in the living room at that time because I used to do design work out there. Blew up my computer, blew up my printer. Now this is all within, not like all at once. Now I know I wasn't by, lightning or anything like that. It was like the television went, then the television went, and then the computer went, and then the printer went, so it was attacking all my electronics. Well, then it smashed my microwave. Now I was a designer. Right? I have a very expensive kitchen. This is my showroom. I had 2 stoves. I had a glass cooktop with the microwave above it, and I never used it because it just stayed pretty. Right? I had a gas cooktop on an island. That's what I cooked on. Right? So I was like, don't put anything on my I was anal about it. Well, I come in and I'd gotten home from work one day. I walk through and I have that little teeny dog. Okay, it's just me and my dog. As my husband has passed away at this point, and I have a pool, so I'm going to close the pool. It's fall, So I walk through. I lock all my doors, and I go out to the back and work on the pool. I come back in the kitchen and I look, and it wasn't this way when I came out because I always glance at my stove like, my nice and shiny stove, but all nice and clean, nice. I'm very anal. A little OCD maybe, but that area always stayed nice. Well, I come back in from the pool and there is broken glass all over the cooktop. And I thought the cooktop was broken. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And I came over there and then I looked up and it was the microwave and it was literally smashed and all the glass.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. So then, of course, being an investigator, I pull out the recorder and I try to find out what's going on. And this thing is like laughing at me, because I would ask questions and I would go and I'd put it on the computer right away so I could hear it. If I can't hear it, so I'm listening that way. And then it's laughing at me. It's like, oh yeah, you funny guy. I'm like, well, you're hiding. What do you? It's something. I don't even know why I said it. Something along the lines of what do I got to do to see you or something like that. And I'm recording again. You know what that damn thing said to me? Sorry, that thing said, "Sacrifice your dog." That's the EVP. I was like,
oh, ouch.
That's it. You are. I'm like, you're obliterated. That's what you are, And I called up all my friends. I had a whole ton of people that I know that really high energy, high vibrations. I said, you got to come today. You got to come tonight. And we did. And we cleansed the house and we, and I sealed the property and I got rid of that thing. And then life was wonderful after that,
Yeah.
But, oh my God, I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. From one mistake that this went on for over a month of bad things happening. And it cost me a bunch of money to replace TVs and computers.
Yeah, of course. They're not cheap.
And the microwave, and I had an expensive microwave first. I replaced it with a cheaper one. But I'm just
of course, with things like that, it makes you more aware with the work that you're doing to follow those protocols.
Yes.
And share those with other people so that they don't fall into the guise of, let's take a piece of beer, or the one that I hear is we're going to do a ghost walk and everybody's drinking alcohol beforehand. I'm like, well, that's not a very good element. I'm not in judgment whatsoever, but just I always say to people, I learned old school, and whether people like it or not, old school for me was, you do that process, you do the meditation, you connect, you ground. You certainly don't have the influence of alcohol or drugs in your system, because then you're not honoring those that are working and protecting with you. And
you're a target.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what
why would you want to open yourself up to be possessed or taken over or attached to? Why would you do that? I shouldn't say that, because some people, I think they want it. I really do.
Oh, yeah.
However, when Bob and I take people, if you show up and I can smell alcohol, you're gone.
Yeah.
And it's written all over our website. You know what I mean? There's no drugs. There's no alcohol. If you're inebriated and impaired in any way, shape, or form, bye-bye.
Because you're open. It's we sort of know the rules of engagement. When we get into a vehicle, be high on something, whether it's alcohol or drugs, because we're now putting not only ourselves at risk but everybody else at risk that we could encounter along the way. So I've sort of I think been sort of thought of as the prim and proper, overly cautious, British medium that sort of says these things, and I'm like, no, you can do definitely whatever you want. But always be very aware that we had this conversation earlier, what we put out, we bring back to us. So, be careful of what you are actually asking for. If you're wanting this ghost to come home with you or to be with you or show me kind of thing in that very, physical way that people want this to happen, go on, make the window rattle, which, I'm going,
well, that, all right, you make the window rattle, but don't touch any person, No, not at all. And then they get all upset too. I got scratched, I got punched, I got kicked, I got this, I got that. It's like, well, did anybody ask for it? First question, well, don't ask for it,
Yeah.
they're there. Yeah, they could do that to you. Yeah. Depends where you are,
Yeah. I like the way Mama D said, never mix your spirits. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that.
Exactly it.
And Mama D asks, we're not live on Facebook, but after this transmission, it will be posted on Facebook. So it will end up there. I'm not very technically minded. So if you can share with me off broadcast how to have it live on here and on Facebook at the same time, that's great. But I'm not technically minded. So
it's the other version.
Yeah. Yeah. So Gina, I'm loving the conversation. From anybody that's watching, does anybody, while we're doing the live, I have to emphasize that because sometimes after we've done a live, people put questions up there. So while we're live, is there anybody that has any questions or has encountered something themselves that they'd like to share? Please put it up down in the feed there, and we will discuss it.
Yeah.
So I'll give people a moment there. If there's a question of, how do you know if you've got a ghost in your home or something like that, or some of the do's and don'ts, please, I'll let you share anything else that you feel that's relevant and helpful to people.
Well, if you feel like things are going on in your house, right? Like I said before, the paranormal community is huge. There are reputable teams. There are websites that you can go on and you can find a local reputable team, whether they're part of TAPS nation. You have to register to be involved in that. Those are pretty good teams. But find a good local team, have a team come in, do a little investigation, find out what's going on. But again, if these people are coming in and kicking down your door basically, or being disrespectful, then get rid of them right away. And if they say, I don't really want you here, I would be there. Right, I would be there watching them anyway, because it's your home.
Yes.
So you want to make sure that nothing's going to happen to make things worse.
You
got to know what you're dealing with. Like, as I said before, every spirit is different. Every energy is different. Every home is different. People are different. We're all different. You're different than me. We have different abilities. We have different.
And we work in different ways as well, from the same source per se. But you have your expertise and I have mine, and I
needed.
When I said, were there any questions or anything, Mama D said, who is her favorite?
You are.
You are.
I was going to say, that is my co-host.
And she's jokingly here. She said, how is it Gina is not afraid of spirit, but petrified of spiders? They move fast. It's like mice and rats. They move fast. I'm okay with spiders because I know that they kill all the horrible aphids and stuff like that. But depending upon size.
Yeah, when they're no. Yeah. But I find my butt has unbelievable skills that I can go from sitting and jump with my butt standing way over there. I don't know how I can do that, but if a spider is present.
I know, talking about spiders, Mama D, when I was in Australia, I was laying in bed at my dad's house, looked up to the ceiling, see this huge shadow in the light, turned the light on, and there was this like tarantula-like spider up there. And of course, in Australia, just about everything's poisonous. So my first reaction was to scream, not jump on the bed, but grab a broom and just beat the thing to death. So it was not a good response, but it's like, when everything's 95% of everything's poisonous, not to take a chance to grab that little puppy and put it into a glass and then take it outside. Not like I don't think I could have found a glass big enough to cover it to lift it, but I'm with you on that one.
I blew up a big spider one time. I had like glass bowls underneath a sink, and one of the apartments, even my kids were little, and I opened up the thing. I was just going to grab like dish detergent or something out from underneath the sink, and this big spider went whoop right into the front of the glass bowl and was just like, and I was like, oh my God. So I have dish detergent in my hand. So I sprayed dish detergent on him. He did nothing. I just kind of pushed him down. He's trying to get out. And then I'm grabbing everything under the sink, literally.
Yeah.
Throwing it on the spider, and it's still moving. Well, then there was a little thing of ammonia in the back. Well,
oh my gosh.
Ammonia and stuff. Everything. Did a little bomb, but I poured it on the thing and it went poof. and the little smoke thing went up, and I was like, oh my God.
As I say now, when I splatter a mosquito or a wasp, I'm helping you to incarnate into something else. Because it's like you're going to progress onwards. So, Gina, any other things you want to share with this journey on ghost? Well, it's not really ghost hunting, is it? It's what do you call it? Because it's stepping into paranormal.
Yeah, it's research and stuff. What we do is we do take people on ghost hunts. Basically,
Yes.
we're out and we're trying to show them
The fun
investigation
part.
and give them that experience. Investigating homes and such. I mean, it all goes into the general category of research. And finding equipment like with the Vortex Ghost Gear. Bob makes a lot of the equipment for all the senses, right, which I love, like the geophone for vibrations and the HTO for proximity and the trigger prop cats and dogs for proximity, so you can touch them, interacting things to interact.
Oh, wow.
The REM pods are like a static, so it's for static. There's EMF, electromagnetic, and static energy, and the domes are static energy, and the REM pod is like a static thing. So you have all these detectors that you can use in this field for all this stuff. So we tried to explain to everybody, why we'd use these things. So if someone's going up and down steps, you'd put a thing that measures vibration, because if you're actually hearing footsteps or something, you would want something vibration. If your keys are being moved, you want a piece of equipment that's going to the proximity, like the HTO. That's what's used on Ghost Hunters or Ghost Nation or whatever it was. They hooked it up to a sword. All right. So like you can use it. It has a light and a sound. So you can put a camera on it. It's got a little cord, and you attach it directly to the item. And if it's metal, all right, it can direct attach to metal. If it's not metal, you have to wrap it around it so that it will make a connection between the two. Okay. And that field. So then if the spirit comes up to it and wants to touch it, it will go off. Right. So if you have these things, say, a good example, if you have two of them going, you go to Gettysburg, you have belt buckles, one's Union, one's Confederate, right? So you say, okay, well, what side are you on? Please touch your belt buckle. If the Union goes up, right, and if the other one goes up, but that's what Ghost Nation used. They hooked it to a sword, and they were asking about the sword, and it was going off. So going over and touching the sword. So but it's know your equipment, know why you use the equipment, and use the proper equipment. We make those ghost boxes so you can hear right away. Like the EVPs are on digital recorders. If you put your headphones on with the recorder, we call that real time. You can hear the spirits talking now, as opposed to taking and uploading your recording and then putting it on, say, like WavePad or whatever it is, Audacity, and you can see the waves. And you can listen to the EVPs there. But real time, you can hear them as they're going. But the spirit box is stuff that you can hear out loud. And then the spirit box, it scans radio waves really quickly. So if you're getting the same voice answering a question, I'm Martha, I've been here for 20 years. And you get this full sentence. Now, by the time that sentence is done, this thing has scanned, 15, 20 radio stations. So it's impossible for the same voice to be coming over all those radio stations to make a sentence answering your question that you just asked, right? But they can use that. They can, communicate that way. And now the spirit boxes, whether you use an SB7, which is like, the little one where you got to put the wire to and the speaker and, program it. Little tiny you need glasses, right? You can't see the things that program the speed and such. That's why we made the Easy Scan Ghost Box, because I wanted something that I could do in the dark, that I could do without having to look at. It's a push a button, pull a knob, it's turned on. You have 4 speeds, slow, slow to fast. Okay. Those are there for a very distinct reason as well. Everything has a reason in the field. Right? So slow, if you're at an asylum, people are, doing like I like to call it the Thorazine shuffle. Right? They're all drugged up. They might be talking slower. Right? So in order for you to hear them, you might want it on a slower speed. If you're going to a prison, they're all hyper. So you get on the highest of speeds or the next one down, and you'll get that conversation. Again, it's know your audience. What are you going for? So and to use your equipment properly. That's the main thing. If you want equipment, you want to have, I want it.
I just want to play. Yeah.
Well, all of these things have a specific reason. Know your equipment.
Yes.
Just know your equipment before you try to use it.
That's
the most important thing.
So is there anything else you want to share before we sort of wrap everything up?
I know this went by really fast. I'm sorry.
I know. We should do this again. Yes?
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah, and you're going to come on with me and Mama D, which is that's the Fox Den every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You see me and Mama D, because I am Gina B in a place to be.
And we've got the link.
Yeah,
I really feel blessed. Yeah. So anything else?
Next year, Bob and I, this year, obviously, everything was closed. But next year, we run a big, huge thing called the Penhurst Paracon, and that will be on next year. We don't have the exact date yet, but you get to, we have vendors all day. We have our celebrities, our local ghost hunters and, Ghost Nation and ghost hunters and all those. I'm not exactly sure who we're going to have this time. Last time we had all the ghost hunters and Katrina and John Zappis and Brian Kano and, all those guys were there, Grant Wilson. I don't even know. I can't remember.
Well, what is it? I always say to people, watch this space. And if you connect with Gina, and I think we've got your Facebook, we've got the ghost tours, I've got your YouTube on there. So connect with Gina, and then at least keep in touch with what's going on, and definitely listening to her show, because her and Mama D have these amazing guests on board, and including myself at one point. But I mean, other than me, there's some really, really amazing guests. So don't understand it's all about me.
Well, you were one of our best guests. You want to come on and be you can even come on and be a special co-host every once in a while too. If you want to, or we could do a card show. We all pull cards. Well,
Amber's just said, love this chat. Really enjoyed your stories. Glad to hear it and appreciate your time. Much love. Thank you. And Mama D had put, love you both. I love that. Thank you.
I love my Mama D.
Before we finish up, join me next Monday at noon, where I have another guest here, and we share the positive by raising our vibration. On October the 5th, Ida Keatley, she's a British medium and a healer, and she'll be joining me for Wakey, Signs of Spiritual Awakening, one step at a time. And it'll be a combo of some sharing and, of course, some Q&A and mini readings too. So again, turn up. October the 12th is actually Canadian Thanksgiving. So I'm not quite sure. I haven't got a guess. So maybe I'm just supposed to do a quick chat with everybody, wishing them thanks and doing something in gratitude. I don't know. Hold that thought. October the 16th, I have Karen Holton with Quantum Health Transformation. And I was a guest on her show recently. So it'll be great to hear what she shares with us all as well. And a quick check to remind you that I post something positive every day here on YouTube on my channel. So if you're not subscribed, maybe consider doing so right now. Click that little button, the one down there, the little bell, and that way you get everything coming in. So again, Gina, thank you for coming. Thank you for being part of this, and everybody have a vibrational week.
Right. And subscribe to our YouTube.
Yes, her YouTube's on in the feed below, so subscribe to hers as well, and then you'll hear about all this upcoming amazing stuff that's going to be coming from Gina next year. Okay, so blessings, everyone. Have a great day, and just keep vibrating high. Bye.